Welcome to Inside Kennedy Football, your weekly look inside the Eagle football program. My name is Josh Powers. Coming up on this episode, we'll talk to the head coach, Kenneth Williams, about last week's game against SMB, and we'll take a look ahead to a home game for Kennedy on Friday against Providence Academy. We'll be also joined by two of the players in our player segment, Captain Quincy Miller, as well as Leighton Gabler, and we'll also be joined by assistant coach for the varsity as well as ninth grade coach Matt Balki. But first, the head coach, Kenneth Williams. And I have to ask you, Coach, you were on the road in a hostile environment against a very good team in SMB. And you guys stayed very competitive through a large portion of that game, and that doesn't happen to them that often.
No, what we had is a good game plan going in, Josh. You know, something that we knew, SMB, we knew the mantra, we knew all the fame and glory of SMB. A lot of Division I recruits in that program. Last year's 4A state champions. They have one of the top recruits in the country for both basketball and football, and Mr. Jalen Suggs and Mr. Caden Johnson.
What do you think your team can learn going up against a team, obviously with great players, but obviously also a team that has won a state championship and has been through that process?
I think two things. That's two-parted. I think, number one, we can learn that work ethic, the things that it took to get them to where they are. Number two, we can understand that a lot of times it's not so much as a skill, but sometimes you do need that swag. You need that confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's something that definitely they had, and they exuberated throughout that game. Anytime we made a move, anytime we kind of attacked them, they didn't panic. They were able to hold us off.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights, Coach, because we mentioned you guys did some nice things in this game, and you were in it for a large portion. Here, very first possession, you guys create a turnover on defense against Mr. Suggs.
Yes, here's called our cloud defense. We're going to give a false read to him about who's dropping and who's not in our coverage, and we have one of our leaders, Avante Monroe, there. Avante's a great cover corner. He's actually been about 3 years since before this game, since he had a touchdown score on him. So he's a great cover corner and definitely leads us in picks every year.
Let's take a look at another big explosive play for you guys. Theo Simmons, it seems like he does one of these every game, Coach, and he had two of them. One was called back, but this one
was called back, but this is a great read by Theo. As you see, he bounces outside. You give Theo Simmons 5 yards, and it's over. He's a state track participant for a reason.
And how about that tightrope act?
Yeah. Something they practice every day, actually, in practice with Coach Cooper, our offensive coordinator and running backs coach. We do practice the tightrope drills as well as a jump cut, as you just saw there. And the rest is just Theo running, understanding, get there, get there, get there.
But you said the speed, Coach, because SMB has got some of the fastest guys in the state of Minnesota, and Theo Simmons is running right with them down the sidelines. That has to you obviously know what he does in practice and has that kind of speed, but to see it live against a team like that has to bring a smile to your face.
It does. And it also lets other colleges and schools that are looking at Theo understand and know that he can keep up with some of the top talent in the state, or the Midwest, rather. As I said, they have about 8 guys going Division I next year. So it just lets other people know that he can compete at that level.
You have a dynamic playmaker at quarterback as well in Avante Monroe. We saw him on the defensive end. Here on the offensive end, we're going to see him. Actually, this is going to be a safety here, I believe, for you guys.
Right, this is a safety on a bad snap here. We just have Jesse just understand, push him out of bounds. Don't let him get that ball off. 2 points for us.
Jesse always seems to be in some of these special teams and defensive play. What is that about him? He's got that nose for the football.
He does. He has a tact for it. You know, Jesse is our other quarterback as well. He uses his skill on both sides of the ball. That's why we have him in there. He's also one of our captains.
What was that environment like? You said Mark Dayton was there.
Yes.
Did you know about all these things beforehand? Or?
I did. Okay. I actually got a call letting us know that Overtime Sports would be there, as well as the National Football High School Network would be broadcasting this game live due to all the talent that SMB has, you know. So we were aware of it. They let us know they had about 300 guest passes for that game. It was their homecoming. Also, SMB is made up of 3 schools, St. Paul Academy, Minnehaha, as well as Blake School, and all 3 of them had their homecoming for the first time at once, all in that day. So we understood the magnitude of the game.
As a head coach, what is that like? Did you say anything different to your team? you didn't have a long time to prepare for some of those teams, but was that game day? Did you say anything different to the team, or what was that process like as a head
Well,
coach?
we processed it all week that we're not going to let the hoopla and all the star fame, get to us. Right now, we came in to do a job. For a long time in that first half, Josh, we were doing our job. We were competing at a very high level. And what I taught our kids is that we do have the ability to do so.
It seemed like watching back that game, some of the SMB kids were a little bit frustrated with what Kennedy was doing. That has to be something positive, that they're taking you guys serious enough, and and that you were a threat to them in that game.
That's good. Some of our guys made some great plays here. In a minute, you'll talk to Quincy Miller. He made some great plays at inside linebacker that game. Again, he's another captain of ours, another one of our leaders. And just having people like that who doesn't get all distracted by the names and everything. In today's society with social media and everything, things can get out of hand and magnified. I'm just proud of my guys that they didn't play into that role. They held themselves accountable in the game, and they gave their best effort.
All right, Coach, we'll catch up with you in the final segment. We'll look ahead. You're back at home this week against Providence Academy.
Yes. Thank you. Homecoming this week against Providence. We'll talk about that soon.
Excellent. There you go. The head coach will be back for our final segment. Stick around. We'll catch up with 9th grade coach and assistant varsity coach Matt Balki coming up on Inside Kennedy Football. Back on Inside Kennedy Football, homecoming week for Kennedy. They take on Providence Academy. 7 o'clock start right here on BEC-TV, or better yet, get out live and support Kennedy in what should be a very entertaining game against Providence Academy, and hopefully a homecoming Kennedy win. One of the coaches that is going to be there on the sidelines, Matt Balki. Matt, welcome to the show. Your first time here on Inside Kennedy Football.
Yes, great. Thank you very much. Very pleased to be here.
So currently at Kennedy, walk us through your duties as part of the football staff, not only at the varsity level, but also the 9th grade team as well.
Yeah, so currently I'm the 9th grade coach. I help with the special teams on varsity as well. I go through with the drills for wide receiver, defensive backs as well. And I will give a shout out to the 9th grade team. They did just defeat Chaska last night.
Excellent.
So far we've only lost one game. We're looking to finish strong.
You got some promising young players coming through the pipeline, but let's travel back in time.
Yeah.
Walk us through your youth. Where'd you grow up? How did you discover the game of football? What led you to eventually where you are right now at Kennedy High School?
Yeah, I'd say really I started playing football 8th grade, Jackson Middle School up in Champlin. I went and played football then at Champlin Park. And really, that's kind of where a lot of things happened. I discovered wrestling with Bill Marish up there. And after I graduated, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. And then came back and I figured, what else can I do? I want to continue to serve my community. I want to continue to serve people. Teaching is a great profession. So then I started working towards my teaching degree. And I got hired at Kennedy High School last year. I teach social studies. 9th and 10th grade this year, and I also got involved in the wrestling program with Coach Chuck Vavrosky. And again, a lot of promising people coming through the wrestling program, a lot of great football players that are wrestling. And right now, Kennedy's the only place you can wrestle in Bloomington. So we're really looking forward to this upcoming year.
Yeah, it seems like a great fit for someone with your background in football and wrestling. Thank you for your service, by the way. When did you decide along that journey that you mentioned that teaching was something that fit in with your background, but when was there like a light bulb moment? When did that go on, and what led you down that path to become a teacher?
Yeah, so part of it was kind of planted in high school. You know, I was always the kid there that was helping other kids out, understanding, things in math, English, reading, and everything just seemed to click. And, kids around me would say, "You explain this really well. I never thought about it that way." All right, great. Went on to the Marine Corps, same thing. Big part of the military is always teaching new people how to do certain things, and it just continued. And I have a great passion for teaching. I have great students, and I really do love coming into work every single day and working with them and seeing them grow.
What is it like to be part of such a historic wrestling program? Kennedy, obviously, one of the top wrestling programs in the state for so long. Has to be great to be a part of that tradition.
It definitely is. You have Chuck Pavrovsky, who legendary name.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere else you can really put it. He had 400. He has 400 to win last year. And then other great people that work in the school as well and coach is Josh Holferty. He was a state runner-up, and just being able to work with really these people that have a high level of knowledge in the sport of wrestling, sport of in coaching, it's been phenomenal. I found that I've grown so much too, speaking with them, working with the kids, and it really increased the passion to get out there and help get this sport back to where we can be.
Talk about some of the differences. You're obviously a coach in both the 9th grade level and then the varsity level. Mm-hmm. What are some of the differences in maybe what you have to do as a coach when you're talking to a kid that might be 15 years old versus a kid that's 17 or 18?
Yeah, so some of it is just explaining. So if I say I want to run a certain coverage with defensive backs, break it down again for 9th graders. Some of our guys have never played football ever. This is their first year. They have no idea the difference between a cover 2 or a cover 3 or man, and so you really have to take a step back and be prepared to explain this is what you're doing, and if you need to draw something up real quick so they can visually see what they need to do. Then you get the guys that have been in playing football since they're 2 or 3 years old. They think they know everything, right? You got it. But, really helping them figure out that, look, you don't know everything. There's still a whole lot you can learn, and really try and get them to be the best they can be.
What advice would you have for a young kid that might be thinking about pursuing either wrestling or football or really any sport? But what advice would you have as they're coming up through the ranks and wanting to be a part of one of those programs?
Biggest advice that I can give them would be don't give up. Especially wrestling is one of those sports where you're going to get beat up. Even the best get beat up sometimes. Every coach that's come through wrestling can tell you they've lost a match or 2 or 3 or 20. And it's just a matter of just keep going, keep working, and you're going to improve. Year by year, you will always get better as long as you're putting in the work.
That's good advice, Matt. Great to have you part of the Kennedy staff. Thanks for joining the show. Hope to see you back maybe on another future episode of Inside Kennedy Football.
We'll see if Coach Williams will have me back. No, I appreciate it.
All right, that's Matt Balki, the assistant coach of the varsity team, as well as the 9th grade coach and wrestling coach and social studies teacher. He does everything at Kennedy High School. Back for the players segment coming up next on Inside Kennedy Football.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother ya?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, homecoming week for Kennedy. They will take on Providence Academy on Friday night. You can head on out to the stadium and support Kennedy live, or we'll have coverage for you on BEC-TV, 7 o'clock start as I get some frogs out of my throat here. Time for the players segment. with Quincy Miller on my right and Leighton Gabler on my left. Guys, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Leighton and Quincy, we'll start with both of you, but with you first, Leighton. When did you decide to start the game of football, and walk us through that football journey, and when did you figure out that you could play at the varsity level?
I've played ever since I could. Ever since I got out of second grade, got the pads on, I went right into it. And playing at varsity is fun. It's a lot. It gets harder and harder each time, and it's honestly the competition I love.
How about you, Quincy?
I've been playing since flag football at like second grade too. It's always just been in the family. My brother plays at St. Cloud State, and it just runs in the family. Yeah.
Speaking of family, we can't let you just talk about your brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk about your grandpa, because he has a long history at Kennedy High School with football.
Yeah, he was a coach, the head coach of the football team, and
Mike McKay, right?
Yeah, Mike McKay. Yep. And then he was also a teacher at Kennedy for years, and he's just football, like football family. Yeah.
All right, Leighton. Walk us through what your season has been like so far. You're a junior on the team right this year, and so what has it been like kind of working your way up that depth chart to become a contributor?
Yeah, I'm a junior, and it's been rough because no position is guaranteed, and I've been fighting to get a position no matter what I can do, even if it's on scout, just trying to mimic the other teams, how they do, show what I can do, what I'm best at. And I'm here to fight. I'm going to fight for it, yeah.
Quincy, you were named during the summer one of the team captains. I know that was a lengthy process to be named one of the captains. So walk us through some of the things that went into that decision, and then what does it mean to you to be voted as a captain?
It was some work. I mean, I had to say what my goals were for the team. I wanted to make this team better with the new coach this year. And I just know that the program can be good, and I just wanted to be a leader on the team to show that. And I just did my best to, even if I wasn't chosen captain, I wanted to lead the team no matter what. And yeah.
This isn't your only sport at Kennedy, and we just had Coach Balki, one of the wrestling coaches here. You guys are both part of the wrestling program. We'll start with you, Leighton. Talk about what weight class you currently wrestle at, and then what's it like to have see Coach Balki so often?
Wrestling-wise, well, I don't have a weight class right now. I was 138 last year.
Okay.
Had to keep my weight down, which was really hard for that second half, even though we got that +2 bonus towards the end. And right now, I don't know what weight class. I don't know if I have to cut or not. And with Balki here, I'm probably going to have to wrestle him a bunch in days too, yeah.
Same question. How about you, Quincy?
Yeah, I've been wrestling since freshman year. I was at 145 last year. I'm a little bit higher now because I hit a growth
Coach Williams
spurt.
wants you to put on some weight for football, right?
Yeah, and I also grew too, so I don't know what I'm going at either. Got to see where some of the other players on the team go. So.
What are you looking forward to the rest of your senior year, Quincy, as you start to see kind of that end of the window closing in your high school career?
I'm just excited to be part of the sports, and I just want to enjoy high school while I can, and I just can't wait to get to the next chapter of my life, but we'll have to see where it goes. Yeah.
Last question for you guys. Start with you, Leighton. What's your favorite thing about homecoming?
Ooh, homecoming. Honestly, it's definitely the parties with my friends. It may not be with the football players, but it may also be with my friends that cheer me on at games or at home. It's honestly, it keeps me going too.
How about you, Quincy?
The best part probably is the football game when all the fans come out. It's usually our biggest appearance for all of the
attendance.
Right?
Yeah.
And I always just love it. The atmosphere is great.
All right, guys. Well, it's time for our Kennedy trivia. So here's what's going to happen. We got 3 questions, multiple choice. Best 2 out of 3 wins. And you don't have to wait for the multiple choice. If you think you know the answer, buzz in by saying your name. And again, best 2 out of 3 wins. So here we go. Which of these is not a school color of Kennedy High School? Gold, blue, white, or navy blue, which is not a school color? Gold, blue, white, or navy blue? Leighton.
Blue.
Blue is not a color. It's navy blue. You got to be specific. So there you go. Good answer. You're 1 point away. How many square feet are in the activities center adjacent to Kennedy High School? Is it 100 square feet, 50,000 square feet, 150,000 square feet, or 5 billion square feet?
Quincy, 5,000 square feet.
No, it is not. So your choices are, this is for the win, Leighton, 100 square feet, 5 billion square feet, or 150,000 square feet?
The first answer.
100 square feet, that's it?
Yeah.
That'd be about like the distance between me and you, like squared up. So you're both wrong. Here we go. Question number 3. The correct answer was 150,000 square feet. Who is the current principal at Kennedy High School?
Quincy.
Quincy.
Campa.
Campa. What? Do you know her first name?
I can't.
Uh-oh.
Wait, no. I can't remember.
We'll count it because you got the last name right. It's Carol Campa. Guys, this is going to end in a tie.
Okay.
I'm sorry to tell you. We got our first ever 1-1 tie. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know if you're both winners or both losers, but you both tried your best. That's the important thing. Hopefully you guys try your best on Friday night, all right?
Yeah,
great to catch up with you, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back for the final segment with the head coach on Inside Kennedy Football.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, the Eagles have their homecoming game on Friday night against Providence Academy, 7 o'clock start at Bloomington Stadium and also on BEC-TV. Back to talk about it, the head coach, Kedrick Williams, homecoming week. Mm-hmm. What is that week like for you guys? It's kind of a crazy week with some weird schedules, I would imagine.
It's fun, working at the school now that I'm in the building. We've done it. Like yesterday was pajama day. Definitely put those on. Today was tie-dye. Had my Woodstock shirt on. So it's fun participating in the activities with the kids. It's the first time I've gotten to do that since I'm in the building now. So I'm really, hyping that part up. Also just focusing on that this is a very winnable game for us, and we can be successful. It hasn't been a while. Had not won that homecoming game in about 8 or 9 years. So being able to do so would really lift school morale and the community spirits.
What do you do to stay as focused as you can be, because your time is limited, obviously, in terms of practice with everything going around you? How do you get your team to stay as focused as possible heading, as you said, it's an important game and a game that you guys really want to win?
Well, it's really important, Josh, because like today the weather, prevented us, so we were inside. We like to be inside because the gym is conducive, echoes a voice, you kind of hear everything. For some reason, we like practicing in the gym better. It's tighter, smaller, confined space, but, it allows us to focus and work on some more individual things inside. Technique. So that's one thing that we've been preaching this week, is how we can do things the right way, and really build off of things that we've played well at home this year.
Let's take a look at some of what Providence Academy can bring. They've struggled overall as a record this year, but they've got some playmakers on offense here. We're going to see a 4-yard touchdown run from them.
That's their power I formation that we just saw against Stewartville. They put that in this week. That was something new that we talked about today.
They scored 21 points in that game against Stewartville here. A 59-yard touchdown pass, so they're able to throw as well. I know you guys really like your corners, and could be another test for them as well on Friday.
And we've talked about that. We're going to play different coverages to kind of mix that quarterback up. But at the same time, this is off a screen. The screen game is very important to them, just like us. When you have teams that don't have a lot of success, what you have to do is get the ball in your athlete's hands, put it on the outside edges. That's football 101.
Yeah, and
so that's something they're going to try to do with us.
Yeah, and certainly that young man, running back, seemed like a dynamic player for them. Finally, a shorter touchdown pass for them. This was a 7-yard variety here into the end zone.
Right, and again, that's him using the ball. Again, it's off that coming off the backfield, him coming into the flats again, and just like you said, a shorter pass, a shorter yardage.
It's a team that they've given up a fair number of points this year, and you're a team that can put points on the board. I have to imagine the game plan offensively is to run that football and establish that ground game, right?
It will be. The game will be wet. It'll be a very wet game due to Thursday's weather forecast so far. So it's going to be very important that we use our running game, to really eat up clock, manage game, things like that. And we're really going to depend on our crowd, our student crowd, our community to come in and give us that extra support at home. Something we're really looking forward to. That night, our theme is tropical. So even in the midst of a storm, we want to be tropical that night with our student section. And, just really, we're going to come out in our gray jerseys as opposed to our regular stuff and just do a lot of fun activities to keep us in the game, involved, and trying to march forward.
You talked about some of that environment that you're looking forward to, and this is a season of firsts for you.
Yes.
Not to make it all about you, but what are some of your feelings as you get closer and closer to that very first game as Kennedy's head football coach?
Well, as I got closer to the first game, I had to pinch myself. I had to thank all my mentors that helped me get to where I am at today. All those people, my parents, my brother, different people who helped me get here. As I get ready to wind down the season here, Josh, again, I give thanks. I give thanks to the community who has supported us. I give thanks for the people who have just come up and said you're doing a good job. I give thanks for the 8th graders that's coming in next year who have entrusted me to guide their future for the next 4 years when it comes to the game of football. So it's really about being humbled as the coach right now and just really, again, keeping a focus on what our job is going into sections in a couple weeks.
Well, we're looking forward to the game on Friday, Coach. It should be an exciting one. Hopefully Kennedy can get that homecoming win.
Thank you. We are looking forward. We're preaching win, 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 win. And this week our community sponsor actually is someone who's been very good to us, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. We've done a lot of activities with them this past summer, so we always want to give thanks to those people who support us.
There you go. Hopefully the Vikings can get on that track too.
Yes,
this week
maybe they need our quarterback.
There you go. All right, Kennedy and Providence Academy on Friday. It's the homecoming game for the Eagles, 7 o'clock at Bloomington Stadium, also on BEC-TV. And we'll see Kennedy back here for another edition of Inside Kennedy Football on Tuesday. That'll wrap it up tonight for our entire crew. This is Josh Powers saying good night from our studios.